Hey, good morning, everybody. Tim here, Rat Daddy Studios, and gonna do something a little different today. A little tribute to my good friend and longtime mentor, Sonny Depalma. Sonny passed away not quite 12 years ago, and from lung cancer. And he is truly missed. But Sonny has been such a huge influence on my life as far as my artwork and airbrush work and model work, and among a lot of other people too, I'm sure. And I'm just going to share with you, I have a huge amount of photos of Sonny's work, which I'm going to put up a slideshow here in just a few minutes for you guys to watch. His birthday is the 30th of this month. He would have been 71 years old, so that's why I'm putting this up. But and I just got this piece yesterday. Good friend Brian Sodergaard 3D printed this. This is a kind of a replication of one of Sonny's spaceships that he did. Lots of detail in there, a little monster. And so Brian's printed up a couple of these, and really stoked to have this. I think Sonny would be so thrilled to see his work put into something like this. Of course, he scratch built the first one that he had, which I have just a few photos of him. We were able to use those photos. Brian used those to design this up online. So he's pretty amazing young man, and I think Sonny would be really stoked to see the work done. So anyway, I have over 1,000 photos. I'm not sure how many we're actually going to be able to get on here because of the time thing, so we'll get as many up as I can. You're going to see a lot of motorcycle art. Sonny did tons of motorcycle gas tanks and fenders and complete bikes. I mean, so you're going to see a lot of those work. Sonny did a lot of work for Jerry Graves, who was one of the biker build-off participants back in the day. Just incredible bikes, really incredible bikes. You'll enjoy that. At the very beginning, you're going to see a few titties. If you don't like titties, close your eyes, because there's a few magazine articles from Easy Rider with a fairly endowed young lady posing with one of the bikes. So if you don't like that, turn your head. You're going to see models, some pictures of Sonny and some of his friends and some family. Pam, his longtime girlfriend and the love of his life, she's in there. And his car, his one-to-one car, and just tons and tons of stuff that he painted. His scale speed shop, which was incredible, the Weirdo Speed Shop. That's been a big influence on me as far as building my scale speed shop. There's just so much going on in there for such a tiny little space. But you'll enjoy this, so stay tuned. As I said, I had to do this as a slideshow on my computer. I'm going to use the GoPro to just shoot the video on the computer screen, so I'm sorry if the clarity is maybe not as good as it should be, but I'm going to do everything I can to get you a clean presentation and enjoy the artwork, because it truly is inspiring. So all right, here we go. Okay, everybody, so these are all photographs on my computer, and so the only way I could do this was to play it as a slideshow and set up the GoPro in front of it. So having a little bit of glare problems, I've kind of built a hood over the top of the screen here to help with that, but sorry if there's some lack of clarity here and there. So these bikes, I just found these pictures yesterday. These are pictures of some of Jerry Graves' bikes. This one, I think, yeah, there you go. You can see that. I can't remember the name of it. Seems like it was like the Mafia bike or something like that. Jerry was a builder in South Florida. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us as well. This is a cover of Airbrush Action, and this is the article with Sonny's Weirdo Garage in it. This thing was just amazing. Sonny had signed that copy for me many years ago. Some of his RC cars. And this stuff is way out of order. This was all super organized when it was on my website, and unfortunately when I had to download it on the computer, that all changed. Okay, if you don't like titties, this would be the time to turn this off, because you're going to see some titties. This bike was actually picked by President Clinton to go to a show in D.C. I had everything organized as model cars and figures and gas tanks and everything when it was on the website, and it's just a mess now. One of these days I'm going to have to renumber. That's Sonny. Some of the earlier years. It's a bagger with a lot of his work on it. Near the end of his life, he was doing a lot of car hoods for a Volkswagen dealership, which is the name of the place. He was friends with the guy that owns it. So he had him do a series of hoods for they have multiple dealerships. That was another Graves bike. So those hoods, that guy's probably got the largest collection of Sonny Depalma artwork in one spot in those dealerships. I think there's one in Georgia, there's one in South Florida, there's now one up here in Daytona, but I don't know if any of that work is there. I think pretty much everything is in South Florida where the guy lives. He did dozens of those hoods over the course of several years. That's one of them there. They were some type of Volkswagen hood. And they did some that were skulls and stuff they sold on a few cars, so those are floating around somewhere out there. There wasn't much that said there's one on a Passat, I think. That's Pam and Sonny, early years. There wasn't much that Sonny couldn't do as far as his artwork. He could airbrush, he could stripe, he could sculpt. He could do everything. He was a model builder. He did figures, obviously cars, motorcycles, you name it. He's done it in his lifetime. He's just really, really very diversified painter, and just beautiful work. And of course, Rat Fink. Ed Roth had actually given Sonny permission to draw Rat Fink, kind of licensing him as an official Rat Fink artist. RC car. That was one of the first pieces I saw of his. And Wally Gator. The thing is, on his models and stuff too, it's not, he doesn't just build a model, it becomes a piece of artwork, because on that model is going to be a miniature painting, and then maybe a painting on that miniature painting. I mean, the amount of detail that he put in his work was just mind-blowing. That's a cooler. He just was so over the top, and it was just, when you looked at this stuff, it was just hard to fathom just how many hours. That's Sonny's 55 Chevy. And some of his little creatures that he sculpted. He had a Cushman scooter, which you'll see go by here, that was just amazing. It just had so much going on as far as the paint work on it. That was his Salvagers Car Club logo that he did. It's one of the robots from his collection. He had a huge collection of those toy tin robots. It's one of the pieces he sculpted. And that's his Cushman there. I think I'm getting everything here. Yeah, I'm trying not to get off the screen here on my computer. Probably recognize that piece from my collection. I've got one of those. That was the tank or the fender, I think, on one of the Graves bikes. That's a bowling pin. Resin model kit. That's the inside of Sonny's 55 Chevy. The shifter, and he had the shift knob on that was done by Norm Grabowski. Carved those skulls, wooden skulls. I think Sonny had about 6 or 8 of those in his collection. It's the roof of one of his models. It's the Cushman, part of the Cushman. That's the Cushman. Also has a Norm Grabowski shifter knob on it. There's another one. That's a tribute to Ed Roth when Roth passed away. That's the resin 32.4 from Van Chase Studios. Another motorcycle tank. You're going to see lots of tank pictures. And a toilet seat or two. Another Jerry Graves bike. The rims had hundreds and hundreds of skulls on each of the rims. That's Sonny's 55. I love that piece, the Halloween piece. This is the Cushman when he was working on it. That's his brother Mike. This is one of his little alien spaceship models. It's one of the, I think he did 2 or 3 of those guitars that he kept in his collection. That's one of the Jesse James Chevy RC Chevys, the big one. And some of his early stuff, I think, on a van. This was actually made into a poster, the Skate Fink. That's that 54 Chevy, the Jesse James RC car. He sculpted the driver for that. I don't think he ever finished that piece there. There's a Grabowski skull. Back of his 55. Gunther Volkswagen. I couldn't remember the name. That's who it is. It's Gunther Volkswagen. It's one of those little fire grenades. Devil Fink, that was also made into a poster. And I actually turned one of my big rat finks into that. Resculpted it. There's a cooler, another cooler. That is, excuse me, that little flying saucer was like the size of a $50. He was really, really good. That's a guitar pick. He was really, really good at painting little teeny tiny stuff. T-shirt. That is a computer tower, if I remember correctly. That's a clock, obviously. That was a life-size, huge sculpture of that wolf. They also did a giant rat fink. Those are both down at Gunther in South Florida. As far as I know, they're still there. Those were like 3D sculpted, I guess, out of foam and then fiberglassed. a motor in Sonny's 55. There's the inside of the Volkswagen dealership with a lot of those hoods hung up. It's an early RC car. I think that's a tailgate. It's another RC car. It's one of his little sculptures. He did a lot of little sculpting out of Sculpey clay, baking clay. That's one of the big Frankie kits. He modified this thing. He added a big forehead and a bunch of other stuff to it. It's one of his 8th scale builds. That's the driver on that big 54 Chevy, the RC car. Now there's that Frankie. You can see he did it kind of a funky beatnik look to him. Sonny and Pam. And another toilet seat. That was one of the large rat finks from Tornado Design. RC car. It's just unbelievable how much detail work he had on the roof of that thing. It's mind-blowing. Sonny and Pam. Speedometer with the alien face hugger on it. Sonny really had an eye for the unusual stuff, especially on the sculpts and stuff. Not just the ones he did, but he had a lot of Jerry Petrie's early stuff before Jerry passed away. And Jerry's daughter, I think, was telling me that Jerry actually flew down to Florida to present those to Sonny. The big resin, the race figures. At one time, and those were the first ones I'd ever seen of that sculpt, and Sonny actually had 2 of them. He had some Stanley Mouse sculpts. He had some pretty cool stuff. It's one of his 8th scale builds. Those are those Grabowski skulls. It's part of what he had. Another guitar. I think that Big Frankie was a commissioned piece, if I remember correctly. Somebody told me that they had it, that he had done it for them. Can't remember who it was. Flintstones. There's that crazy bulldog again. That thing's got a huge nutsack hanging off the back of it. It's hilarious. Sonny's thumb with a ton of paint on it. It's another computer cabinet, I believe. It's the back of one of the RC cars. It's the back of that little devil fink sculpture. I think that's an award, I think, from Car Show. Some of his early stuff. It's Sonny with the Porkinator. That bike has been for sale on eBay recently. You can see such a difference in his later work. From that early work, he refined his skills. Everything's so much sharper. The detail like this, I mean, he did a lot of frisket work, hours and hours and hours and hours of masking, but he was a really, really great freehand painter. It's one of the Graves bikes. Little car tag with Calvin and Hobbes. I'm amazed that my GoPro hasn't shut itself off yet, and it has a habit of doing that. And it's still rolling, so I'm going to keep this thing rolling as long as I can. It's one of Sonny's sculpts. Again, a painting on top of a model. His models, there was so much detail in them, in the paintwork, and these little murals. There's the nutsack on that dog I was telling you about, and a butthole. He had a great sense of humor. I loved calling him. I just call him randomly and just bust his ass on the phone. We had a lot of fun talking. That's his brother Mike, with the bass that Sonny painted. I think that's the neck of one of those guitars of his. And we had a lot of fun together. And again, he's always been such an inspiration for me. I really, really still miss him. It'll be 12 years in November since he passed away. It just sucks. I mean, the world lost a really great painter and artist and model builder, and I lost a good friend. And that picture cut off his head, which sucks. That was at Daytona. And he won there at one of the Rat's Hole shows. Amazing Terminator piece. Sonny painting some scallops. That's Sonny and Nitro, his Chow Chow. And I think that might be the award that he got from maybe, I don't know, maybe House of Colors or Pache. He won a whole lot of stuff in one year. After his work was featured in Airbrush Action magazine, and he was featured in several magazines. And then he won like a prestigious painter award. I love that one. God, there's so much going on there with the Hanna-Barbera characters. That's that bike that Clinton picked to go to that show in DC. This was an award that Sonny made for a car show. And there's the Porkinator tank. That's the Astro Creep. Unbelievable model build. I mean, I'd love to try to replicate it. I don't know if I ever could, but it was unbelievable. That is actually in the hands of somebody who didn't even know Sonny now, which just pisses me off. Some of his sculpts. And that's the inside of the Weirdo Speed Shop. That's one of the little rooms in there. I don't think that scooter ever got finished. I think he had that primered, and I don't think he ever painted it before he passed away. That's the hood of the Jesse James 54 Chevy, the RC car. That's that gigantic rat fink. You can see that next to that Volkswagen van, how big that is. That was that giant foam sculpted piece. And then I think they fiberglassed it, and Sonny did all the paint work on it. That's the inside of the Astro Creep. It's got a little LED light in it. That's a really old-fashioned radio. Isn't that awesome? That is just such a cool piece with that marbleizer paint. That's Sonny. Early picture of Sonny. That's on the hood of a model car. That's how tiny. There's the trunk. Just amazing. I remember the first time I saw some of Sonny's work, and it may go by here, it may have already gone by here, I'm not sure if I missed it. It was in Scale Auto Enthusiast. It was the 1/12 scale 57 Chevy. And I remember seeing the paintings. You know, he had done all these murals all over the car. And I remember thinking, that has to be a decal. There is no way anybody could paint that much detail on something so small. And really, for the longest time, that's Sonny and Pam with his 55. For the longest time, I just had a hard time believing that anybody could actually do that. And then, of course, after meeting him, and I told him, I said, you know, I almost thought that wasn't real. And it was really funny, but he was just so good at painting those tiny, tiny, tiny little murals. I think that's on the hood of a Trans Am, the Pegasus. It's early work. It's in somebody's shop way back. Early van picture. A lot of these pictures, again, like that, these are just little bits and pieces of details from some of the... Okay, we're going to pick right back up at the Porkinator here. Now I'm just going to keep running this and splice this all together, and hopefully I can get this thing to... This could take half the day to upload to YouTube, but I just wanted to get as much of this out there for everybody to see as possible. I'm thinking that's Sonny with his dad. Don't know the history of that picture. Some of these pictures have been sent to me by different people who knew him. My computer has added the cheesy little background music. I did not do that. It just comes with the slideshow. I turned it as far down as I could. Another early picture of Sonny. It's him and Jerry Graves is in the middle there. Nitro sticking out of the back of the car. Yeah, I'm sorry, some of these pictures are a little cut off here. Painting one of those early vans. He was so good at painting the Roth monsters. And Red Fink, of course, that was his favorite subject. I believe that's one of his car club buddies. Sonny lived down in the Palm Beach area, so I wasn't familiar. I'd met some of his friends at some of the shows up here. We did Billet Proof together multiple times. So I met some of his friends. That's from '88. Sonny and Pam. Early picture of Sonny. I think that might have been his cousin on the back of there, I think. Sonny with Nitro as a puppy. And Sonny and Roth, Ed Roth. I think he'd been out to the Rat Fink reunion. That's Ken Mitch-Rooney on that trike. Sonny had gone out to the Rat Fink reunion, I think, a few times. So we met Roth there when Roth was still alive, among other people. Took that at Daytona when we were at, doing the Daytona turkey rod run together. That was on the back of one of his models. That's on a guitar. Sorry, my allergies are kicking up, guys. Sorry to keep clearing my throat. That's on the firewall of one of those 8th scale models. Again, a whole nother piece of artwork on a piece of artwork. Cadillac air cleaner. Amazing. So Arthur holding some of those hoods. I think he did a lot of the clear coat on a lot of Sonny's work. He sprayed all the clear. Him and Sonny had a business together. I think I've still got one of those business cards somewhere. Look at the flake and the detail now. It's just gorgeous. Computer might be repeating some of these photos. I'm not sure why, because I don't really have any duplicates, but I am seeing some of these photos come by multiple times. I'm not sure why it's doing that. That little Radfink box is about the size of your thumb, and it's all hand painted. It was not printed. It was completely hand painted. It was with one of his little figures. It was the Earnhardt bike. That bike's still floating around. I've seen it several times. I think it was for sale a few years back. That's actually about a 1/43rd scale die cast. More of those hoods. It kind of looks like Eddie. Love that one. Yogi and Boo Boo and Babes. I know that one's come by already. Is maybe repeating the cycle, so let's see where we're at. Yeah, so we're good. This thing's over a half hour, so I'm gonna cut this off here in just a minute. And I don't think every photo has come up on here, and there's just so much more. And I hate that I don't have my website up anymore for you guys to view it. Sonny's gallery on my website was always one of the top 5 most viewed galleries when I had the website up. I averaged, well, my website was up for 15 years, and at the end of it, I was averaging 25 to 30,000 hits a month. And Sonny's gallery was always in the top 5, and many times, especially if I posted up something on Facebook or somewhere, put a link up, it would just get bombed. I mean, it would, it might get 15,000 views in just his gallery in a month's time. So his work is just holds up. That's a little miniature t-shirt there with one of his sculpts. Another guitar. That was on the Astro Creep model. That was on the trunk lid. That's those Graves bikes. So I think we're getting to the end here. Maybe, I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down now. And I hope you guys enjoyed this and enjoy his work. I hope it's as much of an inspiration to all of you as it has been to me for all these years. I really miss him. And I was just saying the other day, I have to wonder, yeah, there he is. That was at Bulletproof. We had a good day together there. That was a great show. I've said I just wonder what he would have been doing in these last 12 years. He was just at such the top of his game when he passed away, and you have to wonder how far his artwork would have gone at this point. I can't imagine that he wouldn't be creating some really, truly amazing stuff. So, all right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'm going to shut this off now and splice this all together for you, and hope you enjoyed. There's one of his model boats. God, I love that piece. That's on the hood of a die-cast, a little tiny Hot Wheel right there. Absolutely amazing. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll get this together real soon. Enjoy your day, and I hope you enjoyed the work.